Hello guys, Art-Teeves here. This is the second part of my Cordyceps series that covers the process of texturing our 4 Cordyceps mushrooms in Substance Painter. The final project consists of approximately 3K polygons and features a 2K resolution UV map. While it may be slightly excessive for mobile games, it will perform perfectly in PC indie games. I start the process of baking by setting the highest possible amount of rays on all tabs, disabling the ID section, setting object interaction to same named meshes only, and baking my UVs to a 2K Resi UV map. The map can have a padding of 8 or 16, also my subsampling is set to 16. I could have gone for a more basic approach by simply painting details and using a fixed roughness value instead of a dedicated map, ignoring other maps completely. This would optimize my model, but also remove some details that I'd prefer to keep. Each Cordyceps you see is a separate object. Before baking, I split my models into stems, top bulbs, dead bugs and beetles and so on. Basically, seams are positioned on hard edges, or edges where two different objects intersect. To preserve some time and effort, I've copied top high poly bulbs 5 times, giving each copy a different rotation angle. To ensure seamless integration with your 3ds Max workflow, maintain consistent naming conventions in Substance Painter. Use the exact same suffixes for your high poly and low poly objects in Substance Painter as you did in 3ds Max. I start texturing most organic objects by giving them a preset creature skin green smooth smart material. I play with its colors, duplicate it, alter the color of its copy and apply a ground dirt smart mask to it. Also, you can always apply a linear gradient to your stems. The next altered copy of this layer is used to paint bulbs on top parts of each mushroom. Next I start texturing bugs and caterpillars. I start with the same creature skin green smooth smart material, alter it, mask some of its copies and use the follow along paths tool to paint my model the way I like it. Using a paint layer as a mask for your fill layer allows you to retain control of its color, roughness, pen pressure and many other parameters. Technically, if you're a skilled painter, you can simply paint all the details without baking anything, and even skip using the normals map at all. While this approach can simplify the texturing process, it's important to acknowledge that it will likely require more manual effort and artistic skill in Substance Painter to achieve the same level of detail and realism compared to using baked normals map. After painting strips, I used the same material with a higher height value to paint some red spots that seem elevated from the rest of the caterpillar. Make sure not to paint your caterpillar too realistic, for it will look way too creepy that way. I'll skip most of the painting process here, there is absolutely nothing special about it. You may want to use the hardest brush possible here. If your Substance Painter starts to lag, it may be caused by applying too many layers. This can become frustrating, especially when painting on a layer deeply buried beneath others. To improve performance, simply make the overlying layers invisible while you work. This allows you to make changes without the performance hit or rendering all the layers. I use different color schemes for each caterpillar or a bug. I try to give them a somewhat cartoony look, but I also don't make them too bright, for they are long dead and must blend in with some scenery. Also, it may be a good idea to avoid small details and thin lines. These models don't play a crucial role in any scene and will only be observed from some distance. The follow along path tool is ideal for painting details via a masked fill layer. As I've mentioned before, you retain control over all crucial parameters, and it becomes super easy to adjust each model when you look at 4 of them together, or even observe their behavior in a finished scene. It may be a good idea to create a duplicate version of your main material for each layer responsible for a new kind of detail. This way you will be able to alter its color, roughness, height and other parameters. The approach to color greatly depends on whether you have a reference image. With a reference, you can adjust colors from the outset. However, when improvising, maintaining control over individual colors allows for more effective color harmonization as you develop the details and the overall scene. Make sure to play around with some brush alphas. Also, you can apply some preset images you've made in, say, Photoshop. Unfortunately, I've lost the recording of texturing the smallest bug. However, the texturing process itself was relatively straightforward. The main consideration was the eyes. As mentioned previously, I wanted to avoid making them too prominent or recognizable, as this would darken the overall appearance of my models. If you know the type of surface you are going to use for your props, you can add some ground or dirt gradient to your models, so they blend better with your final scene. I ignore this step, for my cordyceps are supposed to be surrounded by some grass. I still add some intricate details to my bugs to make them look a lot more cartoony. At this stage you may even want to paint some cartoony crosses on their eyes, emphasizing them being dead without, some dark details. Also, you can avoid adding eyes at all, but that's normally done on the modeling stage. I paint bug eyes the same way I've painted bulbs on top of each mushroom. Also, I decrease the height value of my strip layers to make them even more pronounced and visible from afar. Also, I add a couple of additional strips because why not? For eyes, I simply duplicate my main material, make it brighter, mask it, and use a basic paint layer over a mask. Its color can be adjusted later on. After I'm done with colors, I add a baked lighting stylized and adjust its colors and angles. You may want to cover all visible UV seams before you do it. To do it, you shall create a paint layer, set all of its blending options to pass through, and use the clone stamp tool to hide all anomalies. Some seams are barely visible but may come up once you move your model to other software. Make sure to play a bit with your environment settings, light angles, and switch between different layers to detect all sorts of artifacts before you proceed with baked lighting. And this is it. Thanks for watching, guys. If my videos are of use to you, please be my guest and subscribe to my channel for more stylized content. And most importantly, have a great day.